This is part 2 of a 2-part podcast. You can catch both parts of the podcast on prideofwest.london. So we're back in the Globe. Hey! We're beard right up, actually, and orange juice and fruit juice and anything else, because it's not all about having alcohol. You can drink whatever you want to that makes you feel comfortable. You got that, JB?
Yep.
Yeah, he's got that. So you can see, JB has had his glass removed from in front of him because, I think he's had a few too many already. But anyway, listen, let's carry on with the class of 22-23, Brentford and the Premier League. We all love a good sing-song at football. But I'm just going to go around the table here and find out what was your favourite chant of the season. JB.
Well, can we play every week, obviously, to West Ham, because we're used to singing that, but singing that to Man City, that wasn't something I expected to be doing at the start of the season.
That is a fair play as well. Ali Mullalley.
Ericsson, what's the score?
What was the score?
4-0, I think.
Did he know what the score was?
No, but Pontus told him.
Good old Pontus. Pontus, he's got the magic hat, apparently. The Dutchman.
I love the Fulham get battered chant. I love that even more on Sunday, on the last game of the season, when people are singing either Fulham or Chelsea or City or any team that you want gets battered. I think that shows what a season we've had.
What a season we've had as well. Tottenham get battered as well at Tottenham, and Tottenham weren't happy about that at all. They were like going, this is the disrespect. Brentford are disrespecting us left, right and centre, which I thought was wicked as well. We got Sherlock.
I'm a huge fan of "We Want You to Stay" aimed at a shit presence on the opposition team. Frank Lampard got it, Daniel Levy got it. Frankie Lampard, we want you to stay. Yeah, lovely.
Did you want him to stay?
At Chelsea for as long as possible, but he's not, so...
And for me, the one, of course, is because at the end of the day, we're not going to... We can't revel in this much longer, because to be honest with you, they're not going to be in our league next season. They might not be in our league for quite a while. But I must admit, I did love, when that fifth goal, not the fourth or the third or the second or the first, the fifth goal went against Leeds United, and of course you had Jesse Marsh, who was complaining about all sorts, and we were singing, "You're just a shit Ted Lasso, shit Ted Lasso." If you're not seeing Ted Lasso, you've got to see it, because it's brilliant, because Ted Lasso is like Jesse Marsh, but just brilliant, you know what I'm saying, which is all good. So anyway, we shall move on. The season 22-23, which was a fabulous season for the Bees. I'm going to go around and ask you what your best away day. I'm going to go for my best away day first of all. I'm going to say my best away day, and it's interesting that you talked about that last penalty, Ali Mullalley, which actually really upset you. But for me, I didn't care, even though we were winning that game and then we ended up drawing. I loved going to Forest this season. I had a right laugh at Forest. It was brilliant. I almost sort of didn't quite go to Forest because, as you know, I've got my team, the Barnet Panthers, which I have to coach in the morning. But I managed to coach a game and then get in the car, go up there. Still had a couple of pints before the game at the Stratford Avon, which is the pub that we normally go to. Then after that, we went to the game. Was there with Laney and Seb. Didn't quite get the points. Atmosphere was good. Saw my little Forest characters before the game. But then after the game, it was on sort of pub, and then we went to the Navigation pub, which was actually quite wicked. And ended up with some Gary, who's got a pub. He's got a Brentford bar in his house, actually. Gary, the Nottingham Bee, which we went to beforehand as well. And we went out for some curry. And it was just a wicked away day. Ended up at sort of 2, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning or something like that. But it was really good. And listen, if you haven't been to Forest, just go there, because it's a great place. Great people, great pubs, good vibe, good stadium, old school, stadium on the river. It's 100% worth going to. Better than Man City and Man United and all these places that everyone tells you should go to. Wicked away day. JB.
Well, I was lucky enough to sit in a very nice seat at the Arsenal Stadium when we played.
Prawn sandwiches?
Not quite, no. But a friend of mine I used to work with had a spare ticket, and I went there. So really, it's horrible going being in a home end when you score, but just that whole day out of us being on level terms with Arsenal at that stadium, that was a highlight of the season for me.
Ali Mullalley.
Weird one for me, actually. Spurs, actually, because I've got quite a few mates who are Spurs fans, so we sort of met beforehand, had a bit of a nice time beforehand, and then we won, and it was
a bit of a
really
nice time.
Day.
Sorry. Hold on a second. Nice time beforehand. Please explain.
Well, we just met and we had a bit of...
Actually, maybe don't explain, actually. Okay.
What are you trying to say, Bill? We had a bit of banter about the game beforehand. People I hadn't seen for a while, and then we all wandered down in the sunshine to the game, and it was nice and sunny, and we won 3-1, and then bragging rights to us. It was great. I loved it.
The Dutchman.
Keeping football out of football, I always enjoy Newcastle away. That was another good trip. I was up there for the weekend, mixed a bit of family and a bit of friends, and it's a great stadium, great city, great fans, great people. Shit result, but if you do the traditional keep football out, Newcastle away.
And I'm going to say as well, Newcastle was actually my second on the list as well. Even though we got hammered by then, I thought Newcastle away is always a great weekend if you manage to do the right things as well. Sherlock.
Chelsea away was great fun. Just a neighbourhood ram raid. I mean, I'll touch on them later, but they're not in a great shape. But it was great fun to go to Stamford Bridge, take the points comfortably, no fuss, no muss, bring them home.
Interesting. That was your best away day, Laney.
I want to be a bit miserable. I don't think I thoroughly enjoyed one away day in its entirety.
Oh,
so
controversial.
For various reasons.
Victor Muldrew, yeah.
A little bit. So I'm going to go. I'm going to go pre-Bournemouth away. We were in a nice little pub and nice little brewery, and there were some good beers in there, and we had a really good pre-Bournemouth. Post Tottenham was excellent. I've got to say, post Tottenham in the Beavertown Brewery, I thought that was a really, really good one. But yeah, the travelling to and from, I've not really enjoyed as a complete one. I may be edging towards your lower league away days. Oh my God!
What's going on here? It's all going off in here. Like, and I'm saying, it's like, there we go. That's it. Smashing the box up.
Smashing the place up.
Smash the box up.
That's
right. Oh, yeah.
No, what God knows what they got up to before Tottenham.
That's right. There you can see. Yeah, that's right. Oh, here we go. Oh, look, all the faces. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Amy's come over and she's not very happy at all, like, you know what I'm saying. But listen, we'll smooth things over. But listen, what we'll do is we'll get JB to actually just throw some stats over. What's the stats on that happening over the stage of the season, JB?
At this stage of the season, very unlikely. I don't think it's happened since 1947 in this bar.
I mean, Ali Mullalley. I mean, does it have anything to do with the pink top? Do you think it might have to do with the fact that she at the top of the West Stand? What do you think?
It could be. I'm just very worried the broken glass is going on the chicken wings that I had my eye on. So that's very disappointing.
That's right. So Ali Mullalley's been throwing glasses all over this pub, and we might have to have a word. might have to have a word with her later. But anyway, you can tell this is all live and direct. Like, this is just like a post-match podcast.
This hasn't happened on a previous podcast where Ali normally threatens us with glasses, but she doesn't normally chuck them on the floor.
That's right. So anyway, listen, we were talking about the what were we talking about? We were talking about the best away day. So anybody else want to interject on the best away day? Have we done that? I mean,
actually, in its entirety, Liverpool was pretty good, wasn't it? Because I know it's recent, but we had 2 nights. We had the coronation avoidance, not intentionally, but you can't see anything of the coronation in Liverpool,
except when we went to Laney's, that Lane, Love Lane,
the
Love Lane Brewery, and then up the top they had the coronation quiz at the top, actually, which you wanted to take part in. You know what I'm saying, but we didn't know any of the answers.
No, we didn't. No, it was a good job. We stuck to our chosen subject, which was drinking beer, and we excelled in the answers to that one.
Yes.
And another pint, please.
Yes.
And that was good. Obviously it was a week before Eurovision as well, and
it was Eurovision crazy. It was crazy,
kicked like crazy. And we had the old brilliant Indian restaurant, the Mowgli's.
That was on the Saturday, and on the Saturday we went to the Soul Bar. Remember, we were in the Soul Bar and we were Mantronics.
Oh, Christ, yes.
We won't talk about that too much because that went on for far too a very, very late night that was. But so Liverpool was kind of good, but this is all good. So we've talked about best away days. But listen, if you talk about the best away days, you've got to talk about your worst away day as well. JB.
Yeah, I think it was very early on in the season, away at Fulham. Yeah, just on the back of United, felt we could get something at Fulham. A few moments in that game, you lose But so all in all, but that did ultimately stay till the final whistle. So
Unlike they did.
Can't comment.
Ali.
Fulham, yeah. Sorry.
The Dutch.
Palace, because of watching the game through a letterbox view.
Sherlock.
It's got to be the same as the performance at Villa. It just wasn't fun. Really wasn't fun.
Laney.
Wolves away. Wolves got nothing good to say about the place. The stadium, the Bunsen burners, just our performance. It was just a shocking day out.
And for me, and this is a weird one as well, because it's one that we won and it's one that we're very happy with, but for me it was Chelsea. And the only thing is, it's because I like to kick football out of football. It's not about what happens on the pitch; it's what happens in and around it. And Chelsea, it's just a nightmare away day. It was a Tuesday night. It was great because we had like Katie from the Atlanta Bees who came out. We went to a few pubs beforehand. It's good. We had some vibes and everything like that. But just Chelsea doesn't really lend itself to a proper away day. Away days in London don't really happen. They're not just quite right. Tuesday night in London ain't right, and then Tuesday night in London, when you've got to go to an area where they don't like to let you into any of the pubs locally, is just not really the one. So listen, at the end of the day, it was cool. We did what we had to in Chelsea. We had fun before, we had a bit of fun afterwards, but Chelsea, in and around the football was great. That comes later, but other than that, it wasn't really great. You know what I'm saying? Which is all good. But listen, there's all sorts going on here with glass being cleaned up and everything like that. Still live on the podcast here at the Globe. We got Amy here. She's doing that. And listen, she's wicked. If you come down there, honestly, wicked job she's done down there. She'll take great care of us. You know what I'm saying? Which is all good. Listen, I'm going to ask you the funniest story. Right, you don't all have to, but has anyone got a funny? Anyone, hands up, got a funny story out there? Put your hands up. A funny story?
Yeah.
Lady.
There was a bit of a protest on the Beesotted end of season podcast where Ali just decided to smash the fucking place up. That was because she Billy didn't ask enough questions apparently.
Yes, that was very funny, and I'm laughing. Any other funny stories this season? Doesn't have to be Brentford. It could be anything.
I quite enjoyed Jesse Marsh getting sent off. It
Sent off against who?
Against us, obviously. Yeah, against us.
It's not obvious. He could get sent off at anyone.
Did he get sent off more than once this season?
I was just asking the question.
Jesse Marsh getting sent off against Brentford was quite a lot of fun because he had a point, but he expressed it very, very badly, and he just looked a little bit. I think the fourth official was taller, and he just was a little bit, and I'm not a tall man myself, and there was a little bit of pointing and kind of angry short man, and then he got sent to the stands, and he had his Ted Lasso trainers on, and it was all quite funny.
Anybody else funny moment? Ali?
Non-Brentford, but it's the Conte Tuchel handshake.
Yes.
That was, and all the memes and those Strictly stuff that went on.
And for people that may not remember, what happened exactly?
I don't remember who went to shake whose hand, but Conte went to shake Tuchel's hand, or one of them held onto the other's hand too hard, and they ended up doing some sort of like awkward dance while they held.
That's sort of the Macarena or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was like you have to look it up online. It was just a Tuchel Conte handshake, and it was.
Any other funny ones? The Dutchman.
Leeds going down's quite funny.
Okay, we move on. A lady.
Sam Allardyce being named as Leeds manager, I thought was quite funny, which led to Leeds going down.
Anybody else? I've got Frank Lampard returning to Chelsea, I thought, which was quite funny, because the thing is that we just thought, when he first went to Chelsea, we thought that was completely hilarious. But then they invited him back again, which was just like, hold on a second, this is like the sequel. You know what I'm saying? It's like they haven't learned, and they still haven't learned, which is actually just funny. Chelsea, Leeds as well, they were quite funny for me as well.
Ronaldo being subbed off again at Man United, he wasn't happy at all about that, but that was quite amusing. Not going to his dugout, and yeah,
that's right. Ronaldo not happy at all. I was going back to the World Cup as well. In the build-up to the World Cup, you know, there's me kind of trying to get my excitement going, and I was thinking, who else is going to be going? Then all of a sudden on the TV, you see all these characters were being broadcast back to the UK, and you're thinking, hold on a second. Are they supporting England? Are they supporting Argentina? And the fake fans that they flew in for the World Cup was quite. I thought it was. I don't think it was funny at the time, but looking back on it, I think it is quite amusing. The thought that they can fool the world, which I'm saying, by just just filling in, you know what I'm saying, and just sort of buying some people to pretend that they supported a country.
Leeds would have taken more.
Leeds definitely would have taken more, actually, to the World Cup. You know, it was more than the Argentinians and everybody else. Awkward moments. Anyone? I mean, I actually got the Tuchel and Conte handshake. I didn't put it as funny, but I put it as an awkward moment. Any other awkward moments, Ali?
When we thought for about 2 minutes that the Hollywood Bets man was going to present the Player of the Year award to Ivan.
Sorry, this is at the end of season awards. Yeah.
And the Supporters Player of the Season was presented by, I don't know if he's the chairman of Hollywood Bets, and it was the day after Ivan got his ban. And it was like, I don't know about anybody else, I used to go, oh my God, if this is Ivan, this is just so embarrassing.
Did he do it? I don't know, because I didn't see the awards.
Sorry?
Did he do it? I didn't see the awards.
He did do it, but it was Ben Mee, so it was all right.
Okay, of course. Yeah, I knew that as well. Yeah, okay. Any other awkward moment, Laney?
Yeah, Ericsson coming back. It was awkward because we did owe him a big thank you for what he did for us, and it was and he owes us as well. And it was just like a situation I just didn't want to see. But he got what he deserved.
Sherlock.
It was funny though. I've got the Mikhailo Mudryk transfer saga. I think we were in for Mudryk for about 16 million, and then Arsenal came along and offered 30, and we went, no, you're okay, fine. And Chelsea came along and offered 80 or 90 or something, and they signed him, and he ran in circles for half a season and didn't do that much, and it was quite awkward.
Ali?
No, I was just going to add to Laney's thing. I think the whole Ericsson thing would have been less awkward if the game had been later in the season. I think it was just too raw at that point for everybody.
The raw. Any awkwardness, or are you ever awkward? The Dutchman?
Sergi Canos' tweets I'm finding slightly
Can you please enlarge on that, because some people may not know exactly what we're talking about?
Well, he's as someone who you think would be impossible for him to fall out with the Brentford fans, really, after what he's done and what we've been through together. But his seeming desire to get away has led himself to make some fairly silly tweets around, you know, how the club should treat him and what he deserves. And I really hope that his relationship with us doesn't end on a sour note, because he deserves so much more than that, because he has been a Brentford legend, and we use that word loosely, and he's contributed massively to our story. And whether the club should let him go on a free or not is a different question, but I just hope he maintains a more dignified silence and things sort themselves out for him and us.
Okay. Anybody else? No. So, okay, the next one is going to, and we have a phrase that, you know, I wouldn't necessarily want to use, because even though we use it in a different term, it is a phrase that we use of people who are a bit of an idiot sometimes, a bit of a as we say. So to me, who has been the biggest this season, right? Okay, and it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be at Brentford. It could be at another club. It could be a pundit. It could be anybody. The Dutchman.
Arteta at Arsenal. Double whammy for me. In reverse order, in second place, the whining over the VAR decision, which I think actually the decision didn't cost them the title, but his reaction to it and his negativity didn't help. But for bringing on a child against us when they were 3-0 up at New Griffin Park, you know, a 15-year-old kid, 2-0 up, 3-0, whatever they were at the time, was just insulting, degrading, disrespectful. I don't think the kid's been anywhere near the squad since. He certainly hasn't got on the pitch. You know, that seemed a personal thing to do, and that reflected very badly on him. So he's got the Dutch chant award of the season.
I'm just saying, Laney.
Couple of cants for you. Garth Crooks and Mika Richards.
Yay!
Enough said.
Oh, but you have to explain to people, because people don't know. They might not understand.
Just a couple of idiots.
No, but explain why. Because
just anti-Brentford agendas.
Okay, so these are people. There are pundits on the radio and on TV.
Ex-professional footballers that should know better, and they've clearly got had a Brentford bias and an anti-Brentford bias, but seem to have warmed to us after they've met our manager. So since they've actually found out what they were talking about, they actually have more of an educated stance on us now. So, but they've said some really stupid things early on in the season, and it's come back to bite him on their silly.
Anybody else? Sherlock? No, anybody else? Ali?
Just Leeds fans.
Oh, here we go. I'm going to say that doesn't count actually as well, because I was going to say as well, because I was going to say that Bamford. I was going to say Bamford, but it doesn't count because they're not in the Premier League anymore. Oh, I was going to say Maddison. But he doesn't count because he's not in the Premier League anymore. Anybody else? There we go. Okay, let's move. Let's get some positivity going on. Opposition player, but we have to respect, because we are football fans here, and we can respect people and players and what they do. And as I say, the best opposition player that you have seen in your flesh, either home or away. I'm going to go for Sherlock.
Morgan Gibbs-White. It looks like he dragged Forest especially the last half of the season. He dragged them over the line.
I understand. And when he played against us, were you impressed?
When he played against us, yeah, he set up their goal. I think they might have lost the game, but he set up their goal, and he was a constant kind of just like a force, like a physical force. And
can you feel the force?
Huh?
Can you feel the force?
The force, yes. I couldn't in the North Stand, but yes. He just, I think I could see what he was doing. I could see what he wanted to do. I could see what it meant to him. I know he's Cooper's boy. He clearly wanted to win that game. He didn't win that game.
Cooper's man, better than Zidane? Question.
No. Yes, no,
Move on.
Yes, move on. It's Morgan's... shout for Trippier, but it was Morgan Gibbs-White, yes.
The Dutchman.
That Harry Kane's quite a good player. I'll give him that home and away. I think he's actually quality. But I am a big fan of Isaac at Newcastle. I think at us he looks really exciting, young, fast. I think he scored against us in the 2-1 game, but he looks a very, very promising player. Like to see more of him, just not against us.
JB.
Saka at Arsenal. I thought he had good games against us. Yeah, very hard.
Ali.
I'm going to go for Harry Kane. I think he was great in both games. He's been great in a very poor Spurs side, and I would say scoring 30 goals in that Spurs side is arguably a greater achievement than what Haaland did.
For me, I'm just going to go for when we went up to Newcastle. I wasn't expecting to get spanked. We got properly spanked up there, and I thought Bruno was on the next level. Actually, I thought he played a wicked game. But at the time as well, because we played them in October, and it's funny because even though they beat us, and they beat us 5-1, they were going on about, we're going to go into Europe, we're going to get Europe. And I thought, you're having a laugh, and you just beaten us, but you're not going to get Europe. And then obviously they've just get to the next level. So I'm thinking Bruno was really good. And the other player that I thought was actually really good, best opposition player, and I'm cheating a little bit here for going the second one, but it's just because he really impressed me, and I'm not going for the Haalands and the big ones, just because I want to, the players who played against us. And Mitoma, who played for Brighton, and I just thought, him against Hickey, that battle down that right side. He had Hickey for toast on that game, and I thought he had a wicked game. So those are two players who are not necessarily sort of spotlight players who I thought were wicked against us this season. Laney.
I'm going to have to go Saka as well for Arsenal. It's just I know he faded a bit towards the end of the season, but it's been a long couple of years for him, for a very young player. More to come there. Arsenal have done so well to nurture that talent. I still remember the reception he got when he came off the bench at our place in that first game in the Premier League. And I think by that as a mark, I think a lot of Brentford fans will agree that Saka is just an incredible footballer. So he's one of those players that I kind of look to. I'm standing on the west, in the West End, looking at the game, and I'm thinking, my God, they're playing against Brentford, and he's one of those I pinch myself that he's got the world at his feet. So look forward to seeing him again next year.
Looking forward to it. Everyone else? Everyone done their little thing here?
I don't think he played in the first game against us. I can't remember, and I can't remember who we played at Old Trafford. I think honourable mention over the season would be Rashford, because that's the hot streak he went on was insane.
Rashford's been wicked. That is no two ways about it. He's been wicked, but not against us as such. But the way that he's played as well, I was going to put him in my team of the season in the Observer when I did that as well. But then I had to go Holland and Kane, which is a little bit obvious, but I just thought because he had the streak towards the back end of the season, which is fair enough. But anyway, we should move on. Some of you may not have this. I'm just saying that anyone can throw it into the top. Any opposition players and worst opposition players that you think into the mixer. You don't necessarily have to. Anybody worst opposition players at all? Because if you don't have to, it's no problem at all. Laney, anybody? The Dutch.
Worst opposition players. De Gea against us was dreadful. I mean, it was early on and he got a bit better. But De Gea, really, you look at him and think how that bloke was Spanish number one when you see him play that badly. And I know he's great on other occasions, but against us he had a mare.
We got this, Ali.
Yeah, I was going to go to Gea, and actually in that game, subsequently become a much better player. But in that game, Martinez was appalling.
Anybody else?
I had James Maddison. He wasn't brilliant against us, home or away. He had moments, but he should have been better. And throughout the season, he was capable of dragging Leicester up, and he did not drag Leicester up. He ducked a lot of times when he should have stood up, and he knew he was going to be fine. He knew he'd get signed up. So yeah, I'd go Maddison.
Anybody else?
I had De Gea written down here. De Gea, Man United, shocking. Did Maguire play in that game as well? He played that blind pass, didn't he? That Ericsson and him fucked up, and they. But I'll go De Gea.
I could just say I think you could take anybody out of that United back five in that game. They were all shocking.
All not very good, and it's amazing. I mean, listen, fair play to them at the moment now. Where they're at the moment now, because at that time you couldn't see them going anywhere near where they are now. And again, it's coming back to the whole Chelsea scenario where in those days Chelsea, they're lucky they got a little bit of a head start on this season, because if they didn't, they could have been fighting. Could have been fighting Leicester for one of those relegation places, which is the honest truth. But anyway, we should move on forward as well. We're going to talk about the unbelievable moment of the season. It doesn't have to be a Brentford moment; it could be any moment of the season as well. And I know that a lot of people will have that as well. I'm going to go for it first because other people say, "Hey, it's got to go for the Sheffield Wednesday." Sheffield Wednesday winning promotion, right, after being 4-0 down in the first leg of the playoff semi-final, right? For me, it was cut and dry. I've got lots of Wednesday mates. I spoke to them beforehand. Lots of them weren't going to go to the second leg. We had the situation where, again, listen, they flush them out, but we got Darren Moore, Wednesday's manager, lovely bloke. Wednesday lose 4-0. All of a sudden, Wednesday fans start racially abusing him. Out of order, bang out of order. Yeah, they've identified the idiot, I'm saying, he lives up in Rotherham, he's been identified, he's been banned and everything like that. But, and there's a few other characters that did it as well. Darren Moore was feeling really down after that because he's thinking, I'm not getting the support what I think he should get. But he came back and he won that game, won it, got back to 5, got 4-all, then 5-4, then 5-all, then penalties, won that game on penalties. I was thinking, boy, you have actually busted gasket here. Your team, right, you've done what you needed to do to get to Wembley. You've got to done it. But to be fair, they nicked a win. They stole a win, whatever they did. Got a goal in the 90th minute. Well, not the 90th, it was the 120th minute, the last minute of extra time. Unbelievable. Fair play to them. Got a lot of Wednesday mates, Tango and all that lot, chatting to them beforehand, which is all good. Fair play to them. But that was, for me, that was the jeopardy that I keep talking about, that me and Laney talk about on the podcast, that I do miss a little bit. But Christ almighty, I wouldn't have missed that, being 4-0 down in the first league. Anybody else?
For me, it was Ivan Toney missing a penalty. Brentford's relationship with penalties over the years has always been a little bit problematic. We've not been very good at it. And then we went on this run of 32 successful penalties, Ivan counting for 22 of them. And then it had to end eventually. But that was an unbelievable, in a bad way, moment.
Laney.
Brighton 1, Everton 5. I think was remarkable and ultimately saved their skin, because it was a game that just seemed to come out of the blue, where Brighton had, I think they just beaten Arsenal, and everyone was expecting Brighton to just carry on demolishing teams because they're just an incredible team this year, and then Everton turned up and just pulled their pants down. It was a remarkable watch, and they can thank that for being in the Premier League next year.
Ali.
You having nicked what I was going to do, Sheffield Wednesday posh. If we leave, I think the most Brentford one is us beating the champions home and away. And
Man City.
Beating Man City home and away, especially away. But also the Liverpool 7, Man United 0 one, because it was at the time when everybody was starting going, oh, Man United might actually challenge for the title here. They were on that insanely hot streak with Rashford, and Liverpool, who were playing really badly, just dismantled them completely.
The Dutchman.
Luton going up, obviously. Notts County's refusal to die in the playoff semi and the final. But I think unbelievable moment.
You said Notts County?
Yeah.
Explain to people, because a lot of people, again, this is going down to the conference as well. So Notts County, explain that.
County, second in the conference behind high profile Ryan Reynolds, Wrexham, still getting 1 billion points and coming second, and then the playoffs being down, losing unexpectedly, pulling that back in.
To who? Who are they losing to?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot now, Billy. do your research. Losing to Chesterfield. And refusal to die I thought was great. But if I can, sorry, my top one, unbelievable moment. I think watching a very poor World Cup with 6 Brentford players represented out there. I think that reality of picking what games you wanted and seeing our Danish contingent, Brian, Godos and Raya, all being involved, I think is really an unbelievable thing.
And on the
this is the Sherlock.
And on the flip side of the World Cup, Harry Kane missing a penalty for England. We all thought he was going to score that second penalty. We all shouldn't have thought he was going to score that second penalty. Yeah, that sucked. That was awful.
So is this the biggest? This is unbelievable. Where is it? Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, I genuinely thought that was going to happen. When he missed it, it was unbelievable.
And how about the European champions getting relegated?
That's true. That was unbelievable. So Leeds, European champions, getting relegated.
Yeah, do you want me to explain that?
Yes.
So Leeds United, the perennial champions of Europe, they got relegated.
Did they?
Yeah, apparently they did. They got on the last game of the season. Sam Matterface took them down. Allardyce took them, relegated them. He was there because he's got an amazing record of saving teams from relegation,
like West Brom last season.
And the last 2 teams he's managed to relegate.
Brilliant.
And he's walked away with a couple of million in his pocket. Happy days, mate.
Happy days. Right. So this is all mished with the biggest surprise of the season. Okay, for me, you're talking about Leeds. My biggest surprise was Sam Matterface, as you call him, Allardyce, actually returning to management at Leeds after relegating West Brom, and about Leeds telling us how wonderful they are and the football that they play, and Bielsa, and they've got these great players, and they're champions of Europe, and they only play a specific style. And then they got really desperate, and they thought, let's get the conveyor belt man in, and let's just get him in, and just play some crack football, and let's just try and rescue ourselves. And for me,
to learn, Phil. He's got nothing to learn.
No, I'm just thinking this is so not Leeds, and it caught me off guard, because I just thought there were probably other people they could have got in, and probably would have done and done a better job, but they got Sam Matterface in, Allardyce, and he fluffed it. And so for me, that was the biggest surprise. But saying that, on a more serious note, our biggest surprise was the football pundits all backing Gary Lineker en masse after he compared the UK's immigration policy to a 1930s Germany. So now for me, look, Gary Lineker does. He's like Ivan Toney. Gary Lineker does what Gary Lineker does, which is fair enough, and he's cool. And he went there and said, but for me, when the BBC came and said, right, mate, you're out of order, the fact that everyone properly backed him, it was like proper union style, old school. Listen, here we go. We're backing you. This is the style. And the BBC just shat themselves. They didn't know what to do. Right, that for me, I thought was wicked. JB.
That Mike Bassett didn't get the Leeds job, but that was
Pretty much did.
Actually, just let Sam take that face off, and you'll see exactly what's going on there. Ali.
Biggest surprise of the season that Jacob Rees-Mogg apparently watches Match of the Day every week.
No, we didn't say the biggest lie of the season. Actually, that comes later. The Dutchman.
I think Bournemouth escaping was a real surprise to me, and I was actually really pleased that happened. But I didn't see any way that they were going to escape that. So massive credit to Gary O'Neill for what he's done there. I didn't see that coming.
Sherlock.
I had exactly the same as the Dutchman.
That'll do.
Bournemouth, sorry.
Laney, have I done you?
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone said Bournemouth staying up.
No, that's right. That's right. Okay, so I'm going to ask as well, for this season, what was the best or the biggest Brentford women's moment of the season? Ali Mullalley.
Oh my goodness, there's too many to choose from. Obviously, the game at the G-Tech's right up there, especially as they won. I don't know. I've got to go for Chloe Logie banging in 36 goals. Again.
That's pretty. You've got to say that is pretty massive. Big in the game, as they say, as well. Anybody else as well? For me, I think of the game at the G-Tech as well, which is the game against Watford, which they played, which there's a crowd of just over 5,000 as well. Actually, that was wicked because it's the first time that Brentford women have ever played in the big stadium. They played at Griffin Park beforehand, but they played in the big stadium. It was put out there. The word came out, and we had 5,000 fans in there. It was a great game. Great atmosphere. They did the full Monty, and to be quite honest with you, I had a marvellous day out, and I know a lot of people had a great day out, and hopefully they'll replicate it again sometime very, very soon. We say, I've got to do. Laney.
And let's not forget, England played there against Australia at the G-Tech, and also we hosted, technically it may have been last season, but last summer, we hosted women's Euros games at the G-Tech, so it's been an incredible season for women's football at Brentford, and we've now unveiled a women's coach for the men's under 18s team. So it's a story that's like conjoined with the men's team. It's a very positive, very excellent progression for our club.
Excellent job as well, JB.
It's just been the profile that the women's team has got. I mean, and Brentford's women's team, actually the original one that goes back to the 1960s, obviously demised and then came back again. But to see the profile it's getting now and all the information you can find about them is excellent.
Excellent, which is all good. Listen, and talking about talking about this season and the women's team and things that have risen in profile, what would you like to see more of next season? I'm going to go to Ali Mullalley.
What from the women's side?
In general.
What I'd like to see the profile of the women's team go higher. I'd like to see them play more games at the G-Tech. I would really like to see some images of the women's players at the G-Tech and not just the men.
Okay, and just in general, it could be anything. What would you like to see more of next season? It could be Brentford, it could be anything, it could be football, it could be TV, it could be books.
Brentford on a cup run that actually gets us to a final. We've never made it to a major final in all these years, even back in the 30s. We've never done it. Got to the semi-final, didn't we, in the League Cup a few years ago against Spurs when we couldn't be there. So it'd be great to actually reach a major final.
Laney.
I probably would like to see us qualify for Europe next season. Whether that is from a cup run, I'll be quite happy with that. I'll agree with the previous answers, or from league position. I think we'll struggle with league position. I'm not going to take it for granted. I think we've had a brilliant one this year. I'm not sort of expecting it as guaranteed next year. But yeah, a cup win would be bloody great, wouldn't it?
Sherlock.
Keen Lewis Potter. He was looking good before he got injured. He got injured. I'd like to see a lot more of him next season.
The Dutchman.
Yeah, I think more awareness of the other teams around, like the women's team, like the B team, like the others. The fact that we're talking about all of them, I think, is a massive positive. More exposure for those, not the first team, would be great. More games at the G-Tech, as Ali said, more publicity. The fact they've got a few pages in the programme now, all those things are good towards having a wider club than just the professional first team in the Premier League.
And for me, I would like to actually see more of people throwing their bodies behind the ball, like we've seen towards the back end of the season, where people have just been launching themselves behind the ball and just stopping goals, which I think has been absolutely fantastic. So let's have more launching your bodies behind the goal at Brentford, because players, not the fans. The fans can do it as well. You know what I'm saying? Yeah,
I thought you were going to say you'd like to see more of David Beckham in Hendon.
Oh, there you can say that. I was telling you something. That was interesting. Yeah, I met David Beckham playing at the Brentford B team at Hendon as well. And I said, "Hello, David. How you doing?" and we had a little chat about Miami because I'm going there in a few weeks' time. And he was all good, and he's not going down there at all. But and I said to him, I was at your party a couple of years ago, and we had a little chat about that as well. But anyway, David Beckham is not going back to Hendon as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, because it was far too random. But anyway, listen, talking about other things as well, because we're going to be coming towards the end of this podcast. I just want to know the best and worst VAR moments of the season, just quickly. Laney.
The worst was Ivan Toney's at Fulham. I thought he was certainly onside, and we should have been winning that game. The best one was, didn't we have like 1,000 during the game against Liverpool? Wasn't there like one every 5 minutes for every time we got a corner we got a VAR decision? And I think one of them may have been right, one of them may have been wrong. I think it was a season where I can't guarantee this. I got a feeling that there was more good ones than bad ones. So I'm quite happy with VAR actually.
Ali.
I don't really have a worse one, but the best one was the one at Arsenal away because it was so evidently wrong, and we were all convinced the goal was going to.
So what happened? What happened again? Just quickly to tell people.
Sorry?
Tell people what happened.
Well, Norgard was quite patently offside for the goal that we scored, and I think they forgot to draw the lines on or something, and we were all expecting it to be ruled out, and then it stood as a goal, and Mikel Arteta wanted his 3 points back.
Yeah, and all the Arsenal fans keep on blaming us for losing the league, which had nothing to do with us anyway, because they just didn't win enough games. I'm going to talk about something which is non-Brentford. I'm talking about Richarlison's last-minute equaliser for Spurs at Anfield. When they went down, they came back, and then they was like, "Yay, you've equaliser! Oh no!" So yeah, that was quite funny. The VAR. That's one of the times when you hate VAR. You think no VAR, you've got it wrong, because we are really celebrating and having a good time because we were like rubbish and then we were brilliant and then we fluffed it. You know what I'm saying? Because Richarlison's goal was ruled out in the last minute up at Anfield. The Dutchman.
I think the honest one for me was Josh's winner against Forest, where we all went nuts, when we scored in cheaty time, as we said at the time, and then that was VAR. That was the most random. I thought, what the hell was that VAR all about? And then you realise that someone may have been interfering somewhere in the way, and we saw, and that went in our favour. That seemed like an eternal wait for me. But I think overall, like you said, I think that there was a league table published, wasn't there, of what would be without VAR, and nothing really changed other than we'd have got one place higher. But overall, I think that's probably my take on it. We've probably been about 50-50 on the decisions this year.
Sherlock,
it seems to have gone in our favour this year than previously. Some good ones, as Laney says, Liverpool, Salah's goal. There's things that I think overall it seems about fair. It's still a nonsense, but that's a different conversation.
Sherlock, you got any? No pressure. No, Sherlock's on it. No. Okay.
I had Arsenal away as best and worst because it was a terrible use of VAR, but we benefited from it, so who cares?
Okay, there we go. we love the area, we love it, and Arsenal Fan TV are still ranting about it at the moment. I'm going to ask you as well. Can you make a prediction? I'm going to ask you to make a prediction. I know I'm going to do it. I'm going to just music. I want to know, because Dutchman as well, because I think you asked this one as well. For next season, we've had the la na 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 na, which is lovely. We've been doing it, but it's a bit played out, as we said, and everyone's starting to do it now. Everyone's doing Hey Jude. We might need to change up our match music for next season. So, any thoughts, the Dutch?
Well, seeing as the one I raised it as a point, but I'm not really sure what the answer is. But I just suggest that we need to not carry on doing the same thing every game.
Give us a song.
As in,
we need a song.
I can't give you. It'll be a goth song from the 80s that'll be completely inappropriate. I'm talking more about, does it become samey? I'd like a song that's ours rather than songs that are universally adapted by everybody. And I know we've really embraced Hey Jude and we've embraced Weiss on Fire, but when he's not on fire or when he's no longer with us, I think we need a backup plan. I think we need a plan B and to change it up, because I think it'll become a bit tired.
I have to agree. It is becoming a bit tired, and you can't hate Hey Jude. You just can't, because it's been there since the very beginning. Although they used to come out, the team used to come out to Hey Ho, like the Snow White thing. Hey ho, hi ho. Hi ho, it's off to work we go. The team used to run out to that in the late 70s. I'm not advocating a return of that, but I'm saying Hey Jude, I'm hearing in every stadium in the country now. We need to retain it somewhere. I say after the game, I go, hey Jude, bin status quo. It means nothing to me.
Even though he was a Brentford fan, one of them, Rhino.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, but it was. Yeah, anyway. So I'll go hard fire instead. Living for the weekend if the game's on a Saturday and we win. Hard to beat if it's a draw, and then cash machine if it's a defeat. We have to do that. And then free from desire, I'm loving. I'm saying keep it for another year because I think the bouncing up and down. But if we need one of those anthems, those like everyone can join in, I go everybody dance now. Gonna Make You Sweat by CNC Music Factory. Everybody dance now. That's the one we go. Uwe Rosler dance now.
Obviously not Uwe Rosler anymore because he's gone. And if you want to, there's a video for that on Beesotted actually. Still, we've got a video. No.
Or I'm gone as a DJ by Faithless, which everyone would dance. Everyone would dance to. It's some. I do love the Free From Desire, but maybe we need to replace that with something from that kind of ilk.
JB.
I was just going to go full on retro, go back to the 30s and have the Hamwell Silver Brass Band playing the post-dawn gallop to enter the welcome the players onto the pitch and afterwards.
Yeah, Ali.
Well, when we win the league next season, we'll just play We Are the Champions by Queen, won't we?
Oh, controversial, but I like your thinking there.
No, actually, We Will Rock You would be a good one.
We Will Rock You as well. I mean, I was trying to think of this as well, but I was just thinking, I love our originals. We used to do A Message for You, Rudy, which you used to sing in the pub as well. And also, like I said, but we can't do that in the season because it's very player specific. He's going to be iron like a lion. It's Brian. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just thinking that something, as Laney says, that's going to really rock the crowd is actually quite difficult. And it's not difficult, but it's just quite specific, like, you know what I'm saying? So it maybe need a little bit of thinking. So maybe if anyone's got any thoughts, maybe put them forward, put them through. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's something I noticed you mentioned there as well. Something that actually worked really well. And it's actually quite bad, but it doesn't really matter because sometimes you just have to own it. Because even if something is quite cheesy, you own it. When we said that if we ever beat Middlesbrough, we'll do the Birdie song. You remember? We did the Birdie song. Do you remember?
That would be brilliant. Look, I've put it down here.
So what happened is that basically what's happened is Middlesbrough used to beat us every single time. They beat us every time for years and years and years on end. And we said to 12th Man, because they kept inviting us to their bar every time, and we'd go to their bar after the game, behind the ground, and we'd have a drink, and they'll be like, they beat us again. Oh, never mind, Bill, how you doing? Pat us around the back, and they're playing all their music, being really quite smart. But no, they were cool because they're mates of ours and everything like that. And then the following year, one year, we said, "Can I tell you something? If we beat you, you've got to put the Birdie song on the DJ thing, and we're going to come and we're going to do the Birdie dance." They said, "Yeah, all right, we'll do that." And we beat them for the first time. We went behind the bar and they're all standing up there. They put the Birdie song and we all started to do the Birdie song dance. That's right. And they were not happy at all. There's quite a lot of us doing the Birdie song in the middle of Middlesbrough with all these Brentford fans behind the stand, and they weren't happy at all.
Can you imagine the whole of the G-Tech doing the Birdie song after we beat Liverpool? All of the players walking round clucking their elbows. It would be bonkers.
That's right. So there you go. There's a thought for you, everybody. And for you Americans out there, just Google the Birdie song. It is really bad, but it's so bad, it's brilliant.
Free From Desire seems a really good option.
That's right. There you go. So there you go. But anyway, listen.
Shut up your face.
Finally, I just want you all, everybody, going around the table to make one prediction for next season. Not where Brentford are going to be, but just some prediction what's going to happen. Like you're a Mystic Meg. If anyone remembers Mystic Meg, God rest his soul. I'm saying so. Mystic Meg. If you can remember the Mystic Meg scenario and make a prediction for next season, JB.
Luton won't get relegated.
Oh, interesting. Ali Mullalley.
Brentford women will get promoted.
Oh, there you go. The Dutchman.
Sergi Canos will score the goal that wins us the League Cup at Wembley.
Oh, interesting.
Not Brentford related, sorry. Todd Bowley, owner, manager, like a cross between Ron Nodes and Vince McMahon at Chelsea, just smashing things up, spending ludicrous amounts of money on left backs to play at forwards and all that sort of jazz. a hot millionaire mess.
Oh, interesting. Laney.
Leeds to get relegated.
Oh, there you go. Interesting. And for me, large Sam Allardyce will end up at Nottingham Forest. So listen, this is the end of the Beesotted Pride of West London 2022-23 end of season roundup. We're in the Globe. We've had lots of beer. We've had more beer. We've had some food and more beer. And we've had lots and lots of fun. My name's Billy Grant and I'm sitting here with JB.
Come on, you bees.
Ali Mullalley.
Hooray!
You've got the Dutchman.
Oh yes.
You've got Shakespeare, or what your name is.
Up the beast.
Yeah, and Laney.
Have a banana.
It got to that stage where I can't even remember people's names, but it doesn't really matter. Like I said, don't forget to subscribe to us on all good podcast channels and also beesotted.com/beer. Buy us a beer. Hey! Buy us a beer. Hey! And also, don't forget to also check out, we've got more podcasts coming all over the summer. We're going to the US, going to the US tour, and you can listen back, you can listen forward, you can listen to whatever you want to do. But as we're sitting here, thank you for listening to this review. As we say, we are very, very happy. We've done very well this season. As we say, come on, Ubies! And thank you to the Globe. They've taken really good care of us tonight. Ubies!